Okay, what a win that was. I mean, that was something. That was just something else. All right, it's the recap video. Vikings win 31-28 over the Falcons. They're 5-4. They're over 500 for the first time this year. After the 0-3 start, they've won 5 out of 6 games. They've only lost 1 game since September, and that was the Chiefs. And hell, they could have maybe won that one. I mean, this. Where do we start with this one? I mean, the things were looking so dire early. Not because it was even a blowout game, but it was just, we knew it was going to be kind of rough going offensively. But it wasn't quite as rough as we thought early because, I think Vikings might have gone 3-and-out in the first drive. But then the second drive, Jaren Hall's, hit a couple nice passes. There was a little bit of running in there. And, they end up a yard from the end zone, and then Jaren Hall gets concussed, trying to run it in. And it's just like this never-ending just barrage of injuries. It's like, here's the next one. Because I came in with a lot of optimism about Joshua Dobbs. I thought it was we made that trade last week. I thought that was a fantastic trade, especially for what we gave up, which was next to nothing. And but I wasn't, nobody was expecting Dobbs to play this week. This was early. I went in expecting, okay, they're going to give Jaren Hall a legitimate shot, and if he plays well, they're going to keep rolling with him. And Dobbs might never really even get out there. He might just be insurance. Obviously, those plans went awry very quickly. And then get out there the first couple Dobbs series were very bad. He takes the safety, which was a bad play because he could have easily gotten out of the end zone there. Even if he got sacked, he could have been sacked outside of the end zone. There's the horrible fumble where he wasn't even hit really. He just kind of pulled his arm back and just dropped the ball, and they run it down to the 1. I think it was like 8-3 at that time, and you're like, okay, they're about to go up multiple scores, and it's going to be and then we're going to have to play big time catch up the whole game with a quarterback who's been here just a few days. But big momentum thing there is they got the goal line stand, because they had 1st and goal at the 1, I think, and they got the goal line stand, held them to just a field goal, kept it an 8-point game at that point. It kept them in it. The defense kept us in it in some very bad spots early in the game, and then finally got some offense going with Dobbs. He was able to hit it. I think it was the pass he hit to Addison. That once that got, he kind of started to get a little bit of a rhythm going, and then of course and then shortly after, then the really big play was the one where he breaks, I think it was on a 3rd down, and he breaks free of that pass rush, and he runs around to the sideline, and then makes that big play to get us a 1st down, dives out of bounds, gets us the 1st down, we get a touchdown, and we're in this game. It's like the score was 11-10 at the half, and it was just like, it felt like a miracle. Like everything that had gone against us in that first half, and it's just 11-10, and we were getting the ball to start the 3rd quarter. So it's like, hey, we got a shot here. And of course, then we turned it over again to start the 3rd quarter with the. I don't know if technically that ended up being officially a fumble or an interception. I guess it never hit the ground, so it probably was called an interception. But again, they held them. They held them to just 3. Like, again, the defense was really big in some spots. They didn't quite capitalize on the turnovers because Heineke was throwing a few that should have and could have and should have been easily intercepted. They were holding them there, holding them to field goals. That's that this game could have been extremely one-sided. by that point in the game if defense hadn't held. But we kept kind of the offense was not bad basically from that point on. Because we drive, we get another field goal. And then I thought that really feel like the backbreaker was that long screen that they hit for like 60 yards. Put them back up 8, and it's like, because you still don't really think you're going to be able to put up a lot of points at that point in the game. But we kept at it Dobbs started hitting some throws, man, and and we had a couple of really big plays. Hawkinson had a couple real big plays. Addison a couple big catches. We got 1 or 2 runs in there that were good. And then before you know it, boom, we're in the end zone, and it's 21-all, and we get the 2, and it's 21-all. It's like, and we get, and obviously before that was, we were down 8, and we had to punt. And then it's like, okay, we're really kind of hanging on here. First play of that next drive, we get Caleb Evans punches the ball out. We get the fumble. Then we get that touchdown drive to tie it up. And then the first play of the next series, we get the pick by Byron Murphy. And then we cash in on that with a field goal. I think we kind of played conservative and played for the field goal. But I mean, we got the field goal and we got the lead. And it's like, how do we have the lead? We're down. It's listed on social media during the game like we're down our top 3 QBs if you count Nick Mullins. We're down Justin Jefferson. We're down KJ Osborne, who got fucking destroyed on a play. Some kind of dirty hits from the Falcons today. They like to go at the head a lot. And that KJ Osborne play, he just got destroyed. He thought he was dead. But I think he ended up with a concussion. But we're out him. Hawkinson's kind of beat up. They showed him a couple times. He was kind of like holding his arm, lightly, and and Darrisaw's out, and we're starting obviously a backup left tackle, who I believe was the one who got beat pretty badly on that safety, that Quesenberry that we got from, I think, the Bills. We brought him in here right at the end of training camp, I think. And then Cam Akers later in the game. I guess that's an Achilles tear for him. He had a couple nice plays today. We didn't run the ball at all. I mean, it's just another terrible game from. We ran it a little better after halftime, but the first half especially, it was just really pitiful. And then Cam Akers, probably tears his Achilles and is done for the season. And that sucks because he had a couple of nice plays again today. And as we keep watching Alexander Madison self-tackle himself, 5 times a game, it's unfortunate. I guess this means Ty Chandler's going to get another shot, and maybe Kene wasn't active today, but maybe he'll get a shot, or maybe they'll have to go pick up somebody again. Trade deadline's passed, but there might be somebody out there. So that sucks. But that was part of the amazing thing that we were able to make this comeback, because it's like you're down all these players. We got Christian Jackson out there. We've got Brandon Powell out there. That N'Keal Harry was out there. He didn't get any catches, but he was out there on the field. It's just, how much more can we take? Like the injury bug is a swarm. It's not a bug. It's a swarm. It just won't stop. And it's cheesy to say, especially about professionals, but I was proud of the Vikings' effort during this game today, because they so much has already gone against them as far as injuries and losses and everything this year, and they could have kind of packed it in, maybe even at 21-13, but they kept at it, and and then they're leading late, and it's like, wow, this would be an incredibly good win, and it's like, and then Atlanta gets that drive to where it was just like they were just pounding us on the ground over and over and over, and we just couldn't stop them at all. And it's just like they're pulling our hearts out by Fortunately, they did score a little early. That helped. Gave us some more time, but I mean it was disheartening to watch the defense get just completely owned like that, because this wasn't like, you know, this wasn't quite as good of a defensive game as the last few we've seen. And we had a chance for some turnovers and didn't get them, but obviously, like the stops early that kind of kept things from getting out of hand were huge. But then to give up that long drive, that was like a 7-minute drive late in the game to let them go ahead, it's just like, oh, after all this, we're gonna lose, this game that they've been so gutty and so short-handed. And again, it's not like we were playing a great team. Atlanta's not a great team by any stretch of the imagination. They had a backup quarterback in there too, but still, they had a lot more of the A team than we did. But then Dobbs, man, he got it done, and a couple real clutch third down plays on there, and that really nice pass to Addison where he got the feet down. Like, that's what we needed. We needed the guys like Addison, Hawkinson, to really step up, and they did in those clutch moments there at the end. And then the fourth down run by Dobbs was awesome, because it looked like he was going to get sacked. Like, not a great game from the offensive line. If we had Kirk in there, now it's a completely different story if we have Kirk in there, because we're running different plays and stuff. But and maybe they're not bringing the house as much against Kirk as they were bringing against the guys we had out there today. But the offensive line was not good. They weren't opening up holes on the ground at all, and if they were, we weren't finding them. And there was a lot of pass rush. I don't think we ended up with too many sacks on our guys, but there was they were coming, and when they were coming, they were getting through. But Dobbs made that great play on fourth down, and obviously, before he had the big scramble to get the first down on the first touchdown drive, and then the big scramble for the touchdown, the one that where they got the 2 to tie it. Like, those were huge plays. And yes, those are plays that Kirk Cousins wouldn't have made. Now, I've already seen some of the people being like, oh, see, this is why we needed to get rid of Kirk so we get a mobile quarterback. Let's be real here. If Kirk Cousins starts in this game, we probably win by about 20 points. So let's calm down a little bit on that. Not to diminish anything that Dobbs did, but let's calm down a little bit on that. You can't diminish what Joshua Dobbs did in this game. I mean, under the circumstances, to only have been here a few days, never, didn't get first team reps. It's not like they were planning to have him out there. They may not have been planning to have him play for a couple of weeks, but best laid plans, and things change, and you got to get him out there. And it was really ugly early. Like, a lot of people were making the Josh Freeman comparison after the first couple of series for Dobbs. And even later, a little later in the game, he had a fumbled snap, and he had a few throws that were not good. Like, there were a couple throws where he had guys kind of open, and he missed them pretty badly. But I mean, again, he hasn't played with these guys. He's barely had enough time to learn the playbook, let alone get real reps with guys, because they were full on having to get Jaron Hall ready this week. But Dobbs was great. This is why I was so in favor of this trade when it happened, because Dobbs has been a guy who a couple times now has he's been with the franchise for a very short amount of time, and has been thrown out there, and has had to play, and has played pretty decent. He did okay with the Titans last year, and he was doing pretty decent most of the way with the Cardinals this year, because the Cardinals have basically been announcing that they want to tank. I mean, they were benching Dobbs this week you know, that doesn't make any sense. Dobbs wasn't playing, poorly enough to justify a benching unless, he's getting you a little too close to wins when you're deliberately trying to tank and you want to get rid of him. So it's fortuitous timing that they did this, because if we went into this game with Jaron Hall and then Sean Mannion as the backup, maybe up from the practice squad, they ain't winning this game. And maybe there would have been a different trade that they made, or maybe a free agent, but it wasn't gonna work out. I think we really got the best case scenario under the circumstances for who to bring in here at quarterback, and hell, that trade already paid off. It was basically a free trade. It's just a late round pick swap, I believe, but it already paid off. Like that was a great trade by Kwesi, and and it was just a great playmaking drive at the end to get this done. Doesn't mean that Joshua Dobbs is the quarterback of the future. It doesn't even 100% mean he's the quarterback of the rest of the season, because I think we'll see now. Jaron Hall will be in the concussion protocol, so he's not guaranteed to be available next week at all. So they might have to go pick up another quarterback and bring someone else in, or possibly Nick Mullins will be off IR. But it's really just it's really astounding that a guy that any player can do this. Like even if it was like a superstar quarterback, and you bring him in and he's got just a few days to kind of learn the playbook and just learn who the hell is on the team, that can be hard. That's why I always was laughing at the notion of Kirk Cousins getting traded mid-season, because it's like, well, it's going to take you a few weeks to kind of get acclimated. But Dobbs has experience doing that. Like he was, when he ended up with the Titans last year, it was a very quick turnaround to where he was starting a game that was for the division. And he was acquired very shortly before the season by the Cardinals this year and thrown out there as their starter. And he did okay. And, and now he's with I think this game absolutely proves that Kevin O'Connell is a very good head coach. And for whatever reason, his play calling has gotten much, much better in the absence of Justin Jefferson. Now, there's still the matter of the insane love of running Alexander Mattison all the time, which I suppose is just going to be even worse now with Akers gone. We might just go back to those first few games where it was just, Madison for 2, Madison for 1, Madison for nothing. Just constant. And Madison did make a couple of nice catches. I think he had the, I think it was that drive where Jaron Hall was out there and let him do a field goal. I believe that was a big play there. One of the big plays there was kind of like a deep shot to Madison. But other than, the run game was just not effective. I mean, Dobbs was the leading rusher. I think he had like 66 yards or something like that. But, it does give you, it's not about, you have to have a mobile quarterback or else. But it does give you a little added something to do. And I'm not like the 3 big Dobbs runs today. I don't know that any of those were designed runs. They probably weren't. But was able to make something out of nothing there, and that's just talent. He's just got talent to do that. Doesn't mean the next week against the Saints he's going to light it up. It doesn't mean that he's going to just be killing it the rest of the season, because I don't even know for sure that he's going to be the guy the rest of the season. I think given what happened later in this game, I think they're going to, whether Hall is ready or not, I think the plan will be to give Dobbs QB1 for the week and see if he can build on this. And then of course you go really long term. It's like, what if he can build on it? What if this can kind of be? What if we can kind of get like this Joshua Dobbs, but a little more efficient and cleaner going forward with more experience, more familiarity with the playbook. Yeah, he can be, I think, a very good starting quarterback. and he can get you into the playoffs. And this was a huge win to keep that going. Um, this thing is very much alive, and it wouldn't have been alive if we had to turn to Sean Mannion today. But yeah, so this was a great win. I think any other stuff to talk about for this game. We gotta get our guys to be able to bring in those interceptions. There were a couple that we really should have had that we didn't get. They could have really turned things even more. But again, we didn't face the greatest team. Atlanta's in the mix, but Atlanta's in the mix probably for a wild card, so it's important to beat those teams. I think they're 4-5 now, and it's like, hey, you got to beat the teams in front of you, and the whole thing is we've got this run of teams that are very beatable. Now next week's the Saints. Now we get them at home, but the Saints have been playing better. I believe they did beat the Bears today, so I think they got maybe 5 or 6 wins. So so that's going to be a tough game. We're going to need good production from the quarterback spot again. So yeah, I think we can. I wish we still had Kirk out there. I would much rather have had Kirk out there today than either of the guys we got. But Dobbs did great. I think this. Even if this whole thing still implodes, we're gonna always have this game, and this will always be a memorable game. The Joshua Dobbs game. Where he led this big comeback on, in less than a week. I mean, he was literally starting for the Cardinals a week ago today, and today he led us to a big win. And interesting, the Cardinals, I believe, got shut out in the first game after deciding they didn't want Joshua Dobbs anymore. Well, I think we're seeing what that franchise is all about. I don't even know who the hell they started in the game today. I don't think it was Kyler Murray, but yeah, this was one of the guttiest, most improbable wins they've had in many years. Certainly in this era, in this coaching staff era, and all that does is give you more confidence that you can keep everything that's been thrown at this team in a negative way. Including more today, more injuries, major injuries. It's like they just keep fighting. This team has just unbelievable fight, and we saw it last year too. I mean, people. I've never been of the belief that they were not a legitimate 13-win team, but they had to fight to get a lot of those 13, and they had stuff go against them in a lot of spots early this season, in games where they maybe could have pulled out a couple more wins. But it speaks very well to the leadership on this team and in the organization that they can pull something out like this win today, and makes me very excited to see what they're gonna do going forward. So I'm gonna stop talking and just spend the rest of the evening enjoying this win. And Joshua Dobbs gonna get his home intro next week, and I bet he's going to get a huge ovation because, man, did he earn it today.